Hello again, this is Jonathan Moe with Hometown Historian. We are out here in Greenpoint, Pennsylvania in Lebanon County, Union Township. This is Sattazan's Lutheran Church. This is the third of those churches that John Casper Stoever played a major role in founding. I believe this was founded around 1850. We will get the exact date. There is a blue historical marker, Pennsylvania historical marker down there. This is actually named after a Revolutionary War vet. I believe he was a private. He is buried here, I believe, and they have his exact name up there. But we're going to go through here. There's also two members of the Blue-Eyed Six, which I will be doing a video on them. I believe they're on the upper part of the cemetery. So I'm going to film a little separate thing as well for that video so I don't have to come back up here. I've been doing some research today, just going around on some of the videos out here in Greenpoint that I'm planning on doing. But we will start down here in the lower part of the cemetery. It's a really pretty church. My parents actually went here when they first moved out here to Greenpoint. I'll get a little closer. They have some really pretty stained glass windows. I'm not quite sure when this physical facility was made, but I believe this was 1750. I might have said 1850 earlier, but it was 1750 when this church was actually founded. It was the Moravians also played a major role in founding of this church, and it's actually 1756. It says it right there is when it was founded. When this church was built, I honestly am not sure, but I love the stained glass. It's a memorial for. Let me get that up there. It's a memorial for Peter Sattazan, a veteran of the Revolutionary War. And then we will pull that out again. But I'm not sure. Oh, it was built in 1872. See, it's cool. They have the cornerstones and stuff like that you can figure this stuff out. But I always love these sort of old country churches because they just had a character to them. And a lot of times they would have those stained glass windows and simple stained glass windows, just really pretty churches, and the members usually really maintain them well. But we're going to quick go over to that sign and just see what that has to say, the historical marker, because I do want to do a series at some point here probably shortly and try to do that on a lot of these different historical markers, because some really cool history that we're not aware of. And then oddly, you'll have, when you go and do this, you'll wind up finding other history that's connected. It's pretty neat. But here it is, Sattazan's Lutheran Church, founded by German immigrants who settled as early as 1729, initially served by traveling missionaries including John Casper Stoever Jr., first Lutheran pastor to visit regularly. A log structure was built around about 1756. This church erected in 1872. It's named in honor of Peter Sattazan, Revolutionary soldier buried here. And that was put up in 1980. Somebody doesn't know how to count, or how to spell, I should say. Can't sleep, don't count. Sheep talk to the shepherd. Good message. Not very good speller. I sort of think this might actually be this very first one. This might be him, because the Revolutionary War ones are circular, and so are the World War II ones, so sometimes you can't really tell. William Sterry is World War II. Veteran of, that's World War One actually, veteran of World War One. So we're going to go through this lower section first, and then we'll go up the upper section, and we'll try to find the two grave markers of is George Zeckman and Josiah Hummel are buried here. I actually stopped out at the Greenpoint Meeting Grove, or Meeting House. It was also the schoolhouse. There we found Henry Wise, who's another member of the Blue-Eyed Six. So I found his. And earlier today, I found Franklin Strickler's gravesite as well, which is, he wasn't allowed, because he was the actual murderer, he wasn't allowed to be buried in any cemetery, so his mother had to go and get his body at the Lebanon County Prison where he had been hung. And then she actually said she carted him back in a wheelbarrow, which is pretty sad that she had to do that as a mother. I mean, regardless your kid did something wrong, you still love your child. And it shows her love that she went to those lengths and actually buried him in the backyard. And after Indiantown Gap had bought all that land, they actually tore down the house and stuff like that. But the grave marker is there in between Milton Rupp. I actually know a number of Rupps. They tore down all the houses, so all that's left is so here's one of these, like somebody made their own marker. It's pretty neat. And somebody that didn't have, because a lot of times the people were really poor, you'd either get put in like a pauper cemetery, or you would wind out they'd have just like a field stone, and they'd have that as well for like escaped slaves and Indians as well, because they just didn't bother to put their names down, which is a travesty. It makes me angry, because you lose those people's names to history, and nobody should be forgotten unless you were doing evil things, but just your normal everyday person shouldn't be forgotten. It's a shame that that happens. I'm hoping we can find this Peter Sattazan's grave, because that was one of those things, like I lived out here for 25 years, grew up here, and a lot of this stuff, until I started researching it, I just didn't know. So it's like I always say, there's like so much history that's right there in our backyard, and a lot of times we just miss it, which is a shame. There's looks like a Elias Wolf. There's a Daniel Kreiser, or Anne Kreiser, his daughter of Elias Wolf. There's son Zekman, his wife. There's a lot of, the stones are sort of all mixed together. Like I said, I'm hoping we could find a Peter Sattazan's, but I don't know. I mean, there looks like over here is where the Revolutionary War, there's some stones with those crowns, so that's probably where Revolutionary War is. But it's neat too to know that this area had been settled as early as 1729, because they didn't start using the name Greenpoint until right around like 1895. Because that was something I was always interested in, like why did it get named Greenpoint. A lot of people had said that it was named Greenpoint because of being this sort of green valley that's in between the two mountain ranges, and it's a green point, but really don't know that whether or not that's why. There's a Sylvester J. Fowler Jr. I wonder if that Korea or Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam. I wonder if he actually got killed in Vietnam. That's one of those military markers. There's a Zekman. It's a John Zekman, but a lot of Ditzlers back here too. I know, like the Franklin Ditzler who actually committed the murder, he was, his parents are buried in that cemetery. I also found the wife of Charles Drews, who was one of the other ones that got charged with the murder. I gotta watch my battery once again. I wanted to go over and, yep, there's George Zekman. Yeah, he died about 7 years later after the rest of them, because he was the only one of the Blue-Eyed Six that got acquitted. And he They said he was out of town and that he didn't commit the murder, or wasn't aware of it, which a number of the guys said he actually was aware. But he died, I think, from consumption about 7 years later, which a lot of people said was his punishment for being part of that conspiracy. Let's see if we can find it'd be Josiah Hummel. They're supposed to be buried roughly in the same area, which I'm hoping it's a stone that's readable, because some of these are not very legible. I'll have to do more research maybe to see. But they did say it was they're very, very near one another. Yeah, these are, so I'm hoping I can find that. Sort of wonder if that's it right over there. That looks like a Revolutionary War. That may be him. That's a William Wolfe there. Elizabeth Kreiser, Susquehannock. Not quite sure what that means. Unless it meant that she is from that tribe. Maybe. I don't know. Here it is, Peter Sattazan, Revolutionary War. Wow. He's Revolutionary War. I believe this person here might be Revolutionary War as well. Yep, this is Peter Feek, Continental Line, Revolutionary War, 1749 to 1819. Wow. I'm a little sad that we didn't find a Josiah Hummels. It's supposedly right up in that area. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on that. See if I can find that, because maybe it's in one of these stones that you can't really read very well, because they had said both of them were on the upper part of the cemetery towards the field. I mean, there was a 7-year difference between when they were buried, because Josiah Hummel would have been hung with the second group of men, which was, I believe, it was Josiah Hummel, that what was his name? Henry Hess, or Wise, Henry Wise, and Henry Wise and Israel Brandt, who was the mastermind of the whole thing. And they were all, so now here that looks like that's a David Hummel. There it is. That's Josiah Hummel right there. Yep, May 13th, 1880. That's when they were hung. There was 3 of them. The first 2 guys, Charles Drews and Franklin Stickler, they were hung on, I believe, November 17th. I think it was either November 13th or November 13th of the year before, the 1879. But I wonder if these were probably all kids. Yeah, because they all died just when they were born, pretty much, or made it maybe a year. So it's just sad. Probably something went through different times, and it was hard growing up in that time period. But so this is Sattazan's church, Lutheran church, and yeah, and we'll be back out here to film again. Now that I know where both graves are, then we'll film in those places for the Blue-Eyed Six video, which I may do as early as Monday or Tuesday, so either tomorrow or Tuesday. I just have to figure it out because I want to do the Joseph Johns video as well. But anyways, that was cool. We found everything that we wanted to come out here to find. It's a neat little church. Like I said, my parents went here for a bunch of years, and I want to just quick check this stone out. We'll go back way around here to the van. It's just neat, like a little sitting area that they have for people as well. Yeah, you can't read that one. There's a lot of out here, a lot of criers. Criers, fakes are two of the big families out here. The Rupps, Ditzlers. Yeah, so it's, I gotta take this advice that some people say, like bring a flashlight out, because sometimes I guess the shadowing can help you to read things a little easier. But anyway, so we're gonna sign off. Hopefully I can get the Memorial Lake video done, and that way I have that video done as well. But I wanted to come out here for a while to do Sattazan's Lutheran Church. It's a pretty cool place, and it's close to my heart, being I grew up here. So, all right, cool. Thanks everybody. We'll see you about town.